Folks, Ryan Madison is dead.
Oh.
That was the opening of the second episode of the 2018 dramedy Barry. But I'm not showing you Barry because the plot of the show is relevant in any way to this video. I'm showing it because of this thing. This is a title card. And if you don't know what a title card is, then just wait. You will. But how can filmmakers make memorable title cards? What's the difference between the title of a piece of media simply being shown and having a title card that the audience remembers? Listen up, because I'm about to lead you into the art of the title card. Ahem. I said the art of the title card. Okay, usually this works when I do it. I don't know why it's not working this time. The art of the So, what exactly is a title card? It's probably more simple than you might think. Generally, people get title cards confused with title sequences. A title sequence is when the cast and crew are shown at the start, whereas title cards are when the name of the film or series or whatever piece of media it is are shown. For example, a memorable title card for a generic romance movie could look like this. One for a war movie could look like this, one for fantasy like this, one for a musical like this, and so on and so on and so on. The two aren't mutually exclusive. A title sequence can lead into a title card and vice versa, but it's really only the title card that we'll be talking about here. Filmmakers often mix the two to varying effects. Quentin Tarantino has memorable title sequences in Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, but both of those come off in different ways. In Reservoir Dogs, since the characters are using aliases throughout the film, the opening titles serve as a way of matching some kind of name to the character, even if that name is simply the actor. However, when the actual title appears, it's not as important or even as memorable because, in this case, that's all it is, the title of the film appearing. But in Pulp Fiction, the title card is one of the first things that you see in the opening credits, and it's immediately clear this has a different effect. Without the need to introduce characters, the title card instead immediately introduces the audience to the type of movie this is going to be. And with a name like Pulp Fiction, you'd expect the movie to be something, well, pulpy, and the title card gives off those vibes. But what actually makes this title card memorable? Well, that's easy. It's the tone. To have a title card be memorable, it needs to properly adapt to, or set, the film's tone. If 2023's Evil Dead Rise ended its cold open with this, would that title card be memorable? No, because it doesn't fit the tone of what it's following and what it's setting up. Evil Dead Rise is pure grandiose insanity, which you can tell from the cinematography and score, and a simple title card like this wouldn't work. Instead, take a look at what the film does with its actual title card. A title card like this, aside from being memorable, is also the perfect culmination of the opening scene. If the first 6 minutes of your movie features an on-screen scalping, face slicing, and decapitation, then what else can you do to make your title card fit? Even general movie fans, people who usually don't pay attention to stuff like title cards, noted this one as being particularly noteworthy. But, once again, a title card doesn't need to be grandiose to be memorable. In The Departed, the title card looks like this. Not exactly super memorable out of context, right? But for title card, context is everything. The first 20 minutes of The Departed is dedicated to setting up the characters and plot lines that the audience will follow across this 2.5-hour runtime. Specifically, how a mob-paid protagonist is placed in a Boston task force under the guise of being a police officer, while at the same time, a police officer is placed into the same mob under the guise of being a loyal underling. As both double agents are put in place and the audience understands who they're going to be following, title card. The Departed has a different vibe from Evil Dead Rise. No scalpings, no face slicings, and definitely no decapitations. It doesn't need a title card that's as bombastic and striking as Rise's is, which is why this title card works. It's simple because this is a relatively simple movie, and the title card is memorable because it's aware of what kind of movie it is. But what if a title card appears without any kind of fanfare, focus, or more specifically, what if a title card appears in the background of a scene? Can it still be memorable then? Let's take a look at the 2022 romantic comedy, Fresh. We are introduced to the main character and the meet-cute that she has with Sebastian Stan. His character has a name, but really, it's just Sebastian Stan. The two fall in love, go off to Sebastian's remote cabin, drink, start dancing, and suddenly the main character realizes that her drink has been drugged. She falls down, and title card. Attention isn't brought to it, instead, it's integrated into the wall behind the characters and exists naturally within the scene to represent the fact that this movie shifts from being a romantic comedy to a straight-up horror film. The title card isn't introduced in any way that makes it significant, it's almost shown as an afterthought, but it's memorable because of the placing of it. Specifically, the fact that the title card appears 30 minutes into the film and instead of matching the film's previously set tone, it sets a new one entirely. If a film with something like a tonal shift wants to do a title card, then this is exactly what makes it memorable, not to match the old tone, but the new one. Another movie that lines up its title card with a tonal shift is Kill, which waits 40 minutes to drop its title card, while it was a generic action movie up to that point. Suddenly, one of the two main characters is abruptly killed, leaving the protagonist in shambles as a title card appears to signify the movie's descent into brutality. As the title card appears, the new, significantly more violent, tone is set. Late title cards are actually quite common with tonal shifts, like Hundreds of Beavers, which has a title card that appears an hour and 15 minutes in. But, once again, late title cards don't work just because they're late. They work because a title card can adapt to the tone shift, making its very appearance the object that sets the tone for the rest of the film. So, let's recap everything we learned today. To make a memorable title card, you need to have it either match or set the tone of your product specifically through the font and the placing. Obviously, the memorability factor depends on the placing of them in the context of the film, which is very difficult to take out of context, but most of the time you should at least be able to tell a film's genre, or at least the vibe, based on a title card. So, if it's something that really matters to you when you're making your next short film, simply do all that, and your title card might just be memorable. Alright, let's wrap this up. Editor, hello? Which moron edited this thing? Oh wait,